Teenagers can be loud, rebellious, and sometimes quite irritating. But some go far beyond, committing crimes that shock the world, like the case of a woman who was arrested for what she did to her dog and still posted everything on the internet, or the infamous big-eared boy who terrorized Argentina with his crimes in the 20th century. These are the young people you will meet today. At Chardon High School, a 17-year-old committed an attack against students inside the school cafeteria in February of 2012. TJ Lane, the young person responsible, stated that he had no explanation for what happened, saying only that he did it because he wanted to. The event, which involved firearms, resulted in 3 students who did not survive, while others were injured. TJ Lane was sentenced to 3 life sentences without the possibility of parole. During the trial, his behavior drew attention, as he wore a t-shirt with the word "killer" handwritten on it, which was seen as disrespectful by the victims' families. In addition, he made obscene gestures, raising his middle finger to those present, causing outrage. After being arrested, the young man struggled to adapt to the prison system, accumulating several disciplinary infractions, including vandalism and disobedience. In 2014, he escaped from prison but was recaptured a few hours later. He is currently serving his sentence in a maximum security prison, isolated from society. The death of Austin Smith, a boy 1 year and 11 months old, took place in March of 2013. Dylan Shoemaker was taking care of Austin, his girlfriend's son, while she was at work. At a certain point, Shoemaker lost control and responded impulsively. Shoemaker tried to calm Austin, who was crying, but ended up getting frustrated and took a firm stance toward the boy. Austin did not survive and passed away. During the trial, Shoemaker claimed that he had no intention of causing the tragic end of the child, but acknowledged that his actions were rash. The prosecution faced the challenge of convincing the jurors that Shoemaker acted with the intention of causing the fatality, something that is often difficult to prove in such cases. The sentence was severe. Shoemaker was convicted of second-degree murder and received a punishment of 25 years to life. Before hearing the sentence, he cried in court. Today, Shoemaker is serving his time in a maximum security prison, far from society, fulfilling the sentence handed down by the court. The case of Andrew Golden and Mitchell Johnson in 1998 remains one of the most shocking episodes involving school shootings in the United States. On March 24 of that year, both youths carried out an attack involving firearms at Westside Middle School in Jonesboro, Arkansas, which caused the loss of 5 lives, including 3 students and 1 adult, in addition to leaving 10 other people injured. Andrew Golden was initially responsible for pulling the fire alarm to lure students outside the school, where they were ambushed. Then, he and Mitchell Johnson did the unthinkable to their classmates and staff. Before the tragedy, Andrew Golden and Mitchell Johnson had problematic behaviors, such as bullying and conflicts with classmates and teachers. Although they were young, they were treated as adults in the justice system. Andrew Golden was sentenced to be incarcerated until he turned 21. During the trial, Golden's defense argued that he was under Mitchell's strong influence, but he was still held accountable. In 2007, Andrew was released from prison after serving about 7 years of his sentence. He was freed under an agreement that involved maintaining anonymity, and as part of his release, he was kept under surveillance, being prohibited from approaching the victims or their families. Currently, after his release, Andrew Golden lives in anonymity. His identity and whereabouts are not publicly known, partly due to the confidential nature of his release, and much is speculated about his life after prison. It is not certain whether he is living under another name or leading a quiet life somewhere remote, but the case continues to raise questions about the effectiveness of the juvenile justice system and the impact of its decisions on the future of young offenders. In Canada, in 2006, Jasmine Richardson gained notoriety due to a horrific crime. The young woman, along with her boyfriend Jeremy Steinke, was involved in a tragedy that resulted in the loss of her parents, Jean-Marc and Deborah, and her 8-year-old brother Tyler. Jasmine's boyfriend used a sharp object to carry out the couple's plan. The motive for the crime was linked to her parents' disapproval of her relationship with Steinke, which caused intense frustration in the young woman. She rebelled against parental authority, adopting a darker lifestyle and becoming involved with her boyfriend, who exhibited violent and problematic behaviors. After the extermination, Jasmine fled the scene with Steinke and was found only the following day. After significant efforts by the authorities, the case had a major impact because of the young person involved. Being one of the most shocking crimes in Canada's history, Jasmine was deemed complicit in 3 first-degree fatalities and, because of her age, was given a 10-year sentence, with 4 years served in a psychiatric institution for youths. Currently, Jasmine is out of the justice system since she served her sentence and was released in 2016 after spending part of her term in a psychiatric institution for young people. Since her release, she has lived her life away from the spotlight, and her exact whereabouts are not publicly disclosed. For legal and privacy reasons, especially given her youth at the time of the crime, information about her location and current activities is limited. Her criminal record was set to be erased in 2021, provided that she did not engage in any further criminal activity. However, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, it was formally erased 1 year earlier, in 2020. This is part of a legal practice that allows young individuals like Jasmine, after serving their time, to have the opportunity to start over by removing their criminal record to facilitate social reintegration. After the death of Tristan Bailey, who did not survive the attack by her classmate, Aiden Fucci was sentenced to life in prison in March of 2023. Fucci caused Tristan's death with 114 stab wounds. The crime occurred in May of 2021, when, after an argument with Tristan, Fucci pushed her and had a confrontation with the young woman in an isolated area, which led to the tragedy and resulted in Tristan's passing. He used a sharp object during the attack. Aiden Fucci's behavior during the investigation was widely condemned, especially for his insensitive actions on social media. One example was when he posted a selfie inside a police vehicle after being detained, flashing a peace sign and writing the caption, "Hey guys, has anyone seen Tristan lately?" This behavior was heavily criticized, given the seriousness of the crime and the fact that he was already the main suspect. Fucci was described as indifferent to the victim's pain, showing no remorse, which shocked both the community and Tristan's family. During the trial, the victim's family spoke emotionally, and Tristan's sister symbolized the pain by placing 114 colored stones in a container, representing what her sister experienced. Aiden Fucci was given a life sentence, but his punishment will be reviewed after 25 years. He is currently serving his term in a Florida state prison. Cayetano Santos Godinho was an Argentine criminal who caused panic in Buenos Aires at the beginning of the 20th century. Known by the nickname El Petiso Orejudo, the big-eared boy, he stood out for his violent actions when he was very young. He started showing his aggressive and disturbing behavior in childhood, displaying indifference to the feelings of others and engaging in cruel acts, such as harming cats and birds, signs that indicated increasingly alarming conduct. These minor incidents were just the beginning and soon escalated. When he was only 16 years old, Godinho was already involved in very serious situations, including episodes that involved children and disturbing behaviors. His trajectory was marked by acts that led to loss of life and attempts to harm other children. Additionally, he also got involved in fires and other actions that shocked the community. However, his true nature was soon uncovered, and after one of his most shocking acts against a 3-year-old boy, he was finally arrested in December of 1912. During his detention, it became clear that Godinho had serious psychological issues. He was diagnosed as insane and was eventually sent to a reformatory. From then on, he lived in penal institutions, and his health deteriorated over the years. He died in November of 1944 under mysterious circumstances, with many suspecting that his death was caused by internal bleeding. Curiously, after his death, Godinho's remains disappeared, leading to rumors and mysteries that still surround his figure. A young man's life was marked by a criminal act in 2011, making headlines after he was convicted for the death of St. Petersburg police officer David Crawford. Only 16 at the time, Nicholas Lindsay was involved in an incident in which shots were fired at the officer who was investigating a car theft. The officer did not survive the incident, and the case sparked one of the largest manhunts in the city's history. Lindsay was quickly arrested, and during the proceedings, he confessed to the crime, claiming that he acted impulsively without a clear reason for Crawford to lose his life. The case caused great commotion in the community, especially given his young age and the brutality of the act. In 2012, a jury found him guilty of the fatal act, which led to a life sentence without the possibility of parole. Nevertheless, Lindsay's case did not end with the initial sentencing. The Supreme Court of the United States ruled that life sentences for individuals under 18 should be reviewed, leading to a new trial in 2013. During this second trial, Lindsay's defense attorney argued that he deserved a reduced penalty because of his age and potential for rehabilitation. However, the judge upheld the life sentence. Currently, Lindsay remains behind bars, with no chance of parole. A 15-year-old, Jesus Alejandro Rivas Figueroa, was arrested in connection with an incident that occurred in Times Square in New York in February of 2024. He had a confrontation with a security guard for attempting to steal, and during the confrontation, the firearm he was carrying was discharged, injuring a 38-year-old woman. She received immediate medical attention and was released from the hospital shortly afterward. After the shot, Rivas Figueroa fled on foot, but during the police pursuit, the weapon was allegedly used again. No one was hurt, and he managed to escape by entering the subway system. However, the next day, the teenager was located and taken into custody in Yonkers, a city near New York, while trying to leave town with his mother. The teenager faced charges related to the incident, including attempted serious harm and 2 additional offenses. During his hearing, he pleaded not guilty. His lawyer requested that the case be resolved in court. Rivas Figueroa arrived in the United States in September of 2023 and was living in a migrant shelter in the city. The case is under investigation, and Rivas Figueroa will await judicial proceedings. He will face the charges and answer for his actions according to legal procedure. 20-year-old Denise Nicole Frazier was arrested twice for similar crimes. In 2023, Frazier used a social media platform to show herself engaging in inappropriate behavior with her dog until authorities were called. The sheriff released a statement saying that it was one of the most disturbing cases he had ever seen. The first time, Frazier alleged that she made the videos under duress and posted bail, in addition to being ordered to stay away from animals. There were 3 dogs in her home when she was first arrested. However, a new video surfaced showing Frazier committing the same crime, this time while pregnant. According to the sheriff investigating the case, the new wrongdoing violated the conditions of Frazier's bail. She is currently incarcerated awaiting trial, which was scheduled to begin in January of 2025. However, there has been no further news about the case since 2024. She could face up to 10 years in prison for crimes involving animal mistreatment and inappropriate behavior with them. In 2015, a devastating fire resulted in a family tragedy and raised difficult questions about guilt and intent. A 17-year-old at the time, Jacob Matthew Morgan, was accused of involvement in a tragic fire that claimed the life of his half-brother, a 1-year and 2-month-old baby. The incident took place in York County, South Carolina, when a fire destroyed a house and took the baby Joshua Hill's life. During investigations, it was determined that the teenager might have been involved in starting the fire, which occurred while the baby was sleeping on the premises. After the tragic blaze, Morgan was arrested and faced charges related to his younger brother's death, with suspicions that the fire had been started intentionally. The case caught the community's attention and sparked discussions about the circumstances of the incident. The visibly distressed young man showed remorse for what had happened, prompting questions about his intentions. In 2016, Morgan pleaded guilty to causing the fatality involuntarily and to 2 other offenses related to the incident. As part of the plea agreement, he was sentenced to 15 years in prison, though he served about half of that term. In 2022, at 24 years of age, Morgan was released from prison, having fulfilled roughly half of his sentence. In the city of Bakersfield, in the state of California in 2010, a brutal crime shook the community. David Moses, then 17, entered the home of Dorothy Session, an 81-year-old woman with 2 accomplices. Their intention was to commit a theft, but the situation quickly escalated. What was supposed to be a simple robbery turned into a tragedy, and Dorothy lost her life. After the crime, Moses was arrested and in 2012 was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. His defense tried to argue that he had no intention of harming anyone, only of committing the theft. However, the court did not accept this justification, given the seriousness of the act and Moses' track record, which already showed an aggressive pattern before and after the incident. In 2020, a new trial was held to review Moses' sentence, since laws regarding juvenile sentencing had changed. Nevertheless, the judge decided to uphold the original sentence, stating that, despite Moses' youth, the crime was too cruel, and he had not shown signs of rehabilitation. Currently, Moses remains behind bars, reflecting on his actions within the prison system. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this.